frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before I knew. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence.
And then I started screaming, and they were like, "Oh, you're feeling a little discomfort because you're alive. The only way you not feel discomfort is if you're dead." I said, "I don't care. You have to give me something because I can't feel this pain. I'm in pain. I can't believe this is what they brought out from her belly." And I was like, "Is it that bad?" My mom was like, "Do you want to see it?" I was like, "No, let me just focus on waking up properly and getting this whole anesthesia off me first." Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be a little bit different. I do hope to do more like chit chats and stuff like that. I'm not very good at them because I have a bottle of water here just in case I get thirsty. I'm not very good at them because I don't really have much to talk about, I guess. Or I think I don't have much to talk about, but I actually do. So I want to be doing these more often. But anywho, you know what? Let me try to put something down to make sure I'm coming out clearly. Alright guys, the struggle to set up right now has been real. I just really pray and hope that you can see me clearly. Alright, so hence this video is going to be kind of like a chit chat, get ready with me. To be honest, it's currently like 11 p.m. I am only awake because I'm actually on a work shift right now, but work is moving really slow. So I figured I come on here and do this, and that way I do have a couple of I wouldn't say new, but I have like some makeup products that I haven't really properly tried, so I'm going to be trying it on camera in this video, so I hope you enjoy. So I have done my skincare already. The only thing is, typically what I would like to do would be to pat my face dry and apply a primer. So I'm going to go on ahead to pat my face dry. It's so annoying because I'm like, God, where am I going? But I'm like, who get my practice in, because I will actually need to do my makeup a couple of times for important things this year, and you know what I mean in a little bit. But yeah, so I'm just gonna pat my face down. I actually did shape my eyebrows or trim my eyebrows this morning. Today is Sunday before I went to church, so they look good. My skin is doing pretty okay. I do have like 3 breakouts, 1, 2, 3. And that's because it's that time of the month, I believe. So yeah, so I'm going to actually start by priming my face. Okay, so the primer I'm using today is Revlon Color Stay Grip. I've used this a couple of times. It's not horrible. I don't think it's as mattifying as I would like it to be, but it's not the worst. Let me put it that way. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be using today. I've been loving that song, by the way. So you're just going to, and I like the applicator of this because it just makes the application easy, and I feel like I don't waste too much product this way, so that's awesome. See, I'm just going to apply that. I guess maybe if you have like combination skin, you might just apply this on areas where you would typically get oily. I have oily skin, okay? I have oily skin all over. So I'm just going to apply this all over my face. I do apply some on my brows as well because I do have oily brows. I try to avoid under my eyes because under my eyes are not oily at all. They're actually pretty normal. They're not dry either. They're normal. So the next step for me would be, so I'll just let this dry a little bit. Let this dry a little bit. and then go in with a powder. I'm going to be using this one from RCMA. I also sometimes will just use my regular Pond's powder. If you don't know what that is, I'll probably attach that here. That works fine too. I just have this here, so why not? So I'm just going to use a dry beauty blender. I just like to put it on my brows just to help mattify, because I do have oily brows. So this is a trick if you have oily brows. This could help your eyebrow last longer. So I'm just going to dab that on here. So how is everybody doing? I hope everyone is doing good. Next, now I'm going to do my brows. I'm using the regular, I forget the name of this pencil, but I think we all know this pencil by now. You know what, let me do my eyebrows off camera. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm done doing my brows now. I don't think they're perfect. Like I said, it is 11 p.m. and I'm majorly doing this because I have a video that I have been postponing, including this one I'm shooting right now though. And I just want to shoot it now, so I just want to look a little decent. And I typically don't do the over the eyes concealer anymore. I kind of forgot and started doing it, and I was like, yeah, let me just finish, because I wasn't about to clean it off. This is June when I'm shooting this, so we're already in the half, I guess we're almost half of the year is gone. So that's exciting, you know, thank God for his mercies and his goodness. So yeah, so I just wanted to film this video. I have a couple of updates. I'm sure the title says it all already. But yeah, I do have big news, of course. I am engaged. Yep. I got engaged on my birthday. I'm sorry guys, this is so awkward for me doing stuff like this, but I feel like in order for me to properly share my, what I like to call my testimony, I needed to just get an idea of where my mindset was. But yeah, I got engaged in December to Mabu. So yeah, I was really happy about that. It was a surprise birthday. I'll probably
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Next one.
Happy birthday to you.
No way! Wow! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday. I've actually been thinking about this. Come back to you. Yeah. So actually I've noticed like there's a real big void in my heart and my life. And you know me very well. I really am not so social, but with you, I have a lot to say, to always want to be around you every time and forever. Please, don't make me jump down through the roof. Just say yes. Will you marry me?
Oh, she said yes! So it was a surprise birthday. Well, it wasn't a surprise birthday. It was more like just me and him. We were supposed to go out. I got a couple of gifts from my friends, and I just went to have a quiet dinner. Because genuinely, I'm actually an introvert, so I'm not really too much of a people person. Sometimes being around people gets me exhausted. And I work customer service, so it's like. But yeah, so I wanted a quiet birthday, and then I got to the restaurant and I saw everyone come out just like you just saw, and it was amazing. And because it was so funny, because I didn't see it coming. I was thinking that probably he would propose this year, maybe ending of this year or my birthday this year, because I turned 29 this year. And then I was like, it'd just be nice to shall be married by 30. And I just left it to God, and all. But yeah, it was amazing. I was excited right there and then. You know, myself and my sister-in-law, my friend, were already like joking about colors of the day and whatnot. And speaking of, the next step for me would typically be foundation. Today I'm using the L'Oreal Paris. I did unbox this in one of my vlogs. Got this from Amazon. This foundation is pretty, it's cheaper than some other drugstore foundations like the, I forget the name, Fits Me, the one from Fits Me, Maybelline Fits Me, but it's a really good foundation and I love it. I had a bottle, but it's kind of pretty old. I have something left in here, but I feel like it's expired. I don't really want to. I might actually, let me just finish this one because I'm not going anywhere. I think I have a little in here, so I'm just going to finish that. So anyway, I got engaged and I have a notepad here to kind of help me go through so I don't forget. So December, got engaged. I was excited and all, already planning, the the wedding and everything. Already start reaching out to vendors. In my head I was like, oh my gosh, this year, like, the biggest thing I'm going to have to deal with this year would be planning my wedding. And by the way, this foundation has a red-ish undertone, but I don't necessarily mind it because my undertone is actually reddish, and by the time I conceal, it doesn't look so bad. So I actually do like it and I do not mind it. It's not this red, but I think because this badge is finishing, it just looks bad, I guess. I'll blend it out so it's not so bad. So fast forwarding to 2023, I was excited, had my wedding to plan, decided to take YouTube even more seriously, uploading more often. Started off the year to a very good start because I was like, I wanted to go to the gym more. And show you guys, I think I have to use the new one because that one is basically out. So like you can see, it's not that reddish. I think it's just because that one is pretty old, that's why. Like you can see, it's not as reddish as the other one, so I think that one is getting old, that's probably why. And how I typically blend my foundation is I tap and then I move it around because I do have large pores, so I want to make sure I learned that trick from someone where you go like this and then you go like this just to make sure the foundation gets into your pores. It helps your pores look a little slimmer. And then I'm going to try to go above my brows so I could just blend everything in. So one of the things I also decided to take seriously this year was my health, and that included like what I was eating, working from home, and making a lot extra money than I used to before. I started eating quite unhealthily, and I didn't really like that because it was showing on my body. Even in my previous vlogs, if you go back, I have been going to swim a lot. One of the biggest motivations to that was also to help me lose weight. Because my wedding is coming up, I don't want to be fat on my wedding day and all of that. So that was also a huge motivation for me. This is me with the foundation applied. I may look a little reddish now. I don't know how it looks like on camera, but it's going to look better in a minute. So yeah, planning wedding was my biggest thing. I started going to the gym. I was weighing 85, 86 kg. My goal was to get to perhaps 78. I didn't want 75 per se because I'll look skinny, but I wanted to get to like 78, 80 and stuff. I said exercising because one of the things I noticed was that my belly was getting bigger, especially my lower belly. And I will attach like a picture of like some pictures I took that now that I look back in hindsight, I can see my belly big there, especially my lower abdomen. So it was like a huge motivation. I didn't want to wear my wedding gown and look horrible, so I wanted to start gymming more, watching what I was eating. But it wasn't working. For someone like me who used to have really fast metabolism, I noticed that nothing was working. So that's when I figured I'd try going on intermittent fasting. I do have ulcers, so I did do it in a mindful way. But that worked, like going on intermittent fasting, just sorry guys, the talking and doing my makeup is not as easy as I thought it would be. So I'm going to be opening, I should have shown you guys this before I tore it open, but I'm going to be using this today. I've used this before, so I know it's amazing. I think I just haven't used it. Oof, that's so ghetto. I just haven't used it when it was in this packaging, so yeah. And I like this concealer as well because it gives me room to like blend. I don't have to blend it immediately after I put it on. Alright guys, so at this point my mic
kind of cut out, and I had absolutely no idea, which is so annoying. But yeah, I was just sharing how, I was intermittent fasting, and I realized I was losing weight every other place except for my belly. Um, but I was making progress. In fact, I was losing weight so much that I started, in my view, I started to look a little sick because I went from 85 to 80 kg, approaching like 78, and still my belly was looking bigger. So I was wondering what was wrong, but I was like, maybe eventually it will get better. Um, but it didn't. I still remember how I found out the news that I found out. So I was on a treadmill, or no, so like a bicycle, similar to a treadmill, but bicycle, and I saw how like the my gym outfit was getting bigger because I was losing weight, but my belly was still, you know, a little bit bigger. And I was, let me go check my weight and see what it is. And I had dropped some pounds, and I was happy. And I was like, perhaps if I drop some more, my belly would get flatter. But it was at that point I had placed my hand at my lower abdomen, the right side to be more specific, and I realized this hard, like very hard feel, like literally like someone had put a big rock in there. But I've just pushed it to the side, thinking it was probably my abs forming because I was doing a lot of sit-ups. But then only that right side was hard; the other side wasn't hard at all. And then I came back home. I think I laid down trying to sleep, and there was a position I tried to attain to stand up from the bed, and I realized this kind of pooch by my side. I will attach like a picture here so you see, like, because I saw a similar picture online when I googled, and I was like, if that was how I found out. I self-diagnosed myself with fibroids. You know how it goes, where it's like you feel like, oh, who has this kind of thing? Let me check the internet, and the internet told me it might even be hernia. But then I noticed that hernias, according to the internet, still was more common among men and not women. And then I saw someone who was like 4 months, no, I think she was like a couple of, like a few weeks pregnant, and she had that pooch at her right side. And I was like, oh, this pooch looks like me. And I was like, what looks like like pregnancy typically and is not? And immediately I was like, fibroids. And that was when I googled fibroids, and I saw that there were people with similar stories with me. And that's sort of why I'm making this video, guys, because there were people's videos helped me get through this, right? Like I prayed, but you know how even the Bible says never despise the gathering of the brethren. It's because even God recognizes the value of human connection, I believe, and just having people with similar beliefs in one place. So watching their videos really helped me. I had a couple of videos that I watched that helped me. Tokema Kinwa, a celebrity radio presenter, experienced the same thing. She shared her journey. Indimi Okoje experienced the same thing as well, and she shared her journey. So their journeys really helped me, and I really wanted to share this with someone who might be like me, or is scared of having surgery, or feels like they're alone, because you are not alone. So basically that was how I diagnosed myself, and around that period was when my grandma also died. And also I did mention that what made me eventually need to go to the hospital was I usually have painful periods, but prior to that particular month, for the past like 3 months or so, my period pains have been little to nothing. Thankfully, and I also think it was also because I was really watching what I was eating when I knew my periods were getting closer. So that really helped and all. But that particular month that I found out I had fibroids, my periods were excruciating, right? I hadn't been officially diagnosed with fibroids, but at that point I was suspecting, and then my period came and it was excruciating. So once I went through that, I decided to open up to my mom. I really didn't want to because she was obviously dealing with the death of her mom, my grandmom, but I couldn't help it. I had to open up to her, and we went to a gynecologist who's really near me. In fact, I said God made that gynecologist open so close to my house because of me. So I went there, and I was so lucky I met the head gynecologist on that particular day. He was around. So I went in crying, actually, guys. I went in crying. He was like, why are you crying? And I'm like, this is what I found, and my wedding is like a couple of months away. Why is this happening to me? I don't like this. And he was like, and then he basically said some things that encouraged me. In fact, he's an introvert like me too, but for some reason that day he was very open and he shared some things with me that really um encouraged me and helped me. So I believe I am all caught up throughout this time that my mic was muted, and I'll just continue from where I stopped, I guess.
Alright, guys, so I just realized that my mic was not recording, which is always every YouTuber or I don't know, filmer's fear. But I'm not really sure where I stopped at, so I'm just going to. I guess I'll do a voiceover for that one, and then I'll just continue from where I stopped on here. So, like I said, the doctor explained to me that fibroids were more common than I thought. A lot of people who are working around with fibroids, they're just not telling anybody. From what I got, they do a lot of fibroid surgeries there as well, and I was just like, why are we not talking about this more often? And he was like, he's pretty sure if he ran a test on my mom might have fibroids, but they'll probably be still so small that they don't bother her or something. But like, yeah, fibroids are more common. Sometimes they're hereditary, sometimes they just happen, but for the most part they're hereditary. So I'm thinking, if not my mom, I don't know about my mom though, but like my aunties, maybe from my dad's side, because they are not really in Abuja with us, so I'm not really as close to them. So by the way, I'm using a foundation. I need to really get a proper, what they call it, contour stick or contour concealer, because right now I'm just using foundation, a darker foundation, just to make, I guess, that place a little darker. But yeah, he was like, it's more common than I think, And then even when I came back, I cried. I was like, this thing has to be the work of the enemy, because how can it be when I'm literally at one of the happiest points in my life? This is happening. Like, my career was going good. I just got engaged to the love of my life, and then get diagnosed with this. Like, why me, Lord? So, like, I was crying a lot, a lot. Like, I can't even believe this is me. Like, sometimes, like, I remember what I was going through at that time, and I'm like, God is great, because I never knew that that kind of strength was in me. Anyway, it wasn't in me. God is the one that gave me the strength. So, yeah. So anyway, got diagnosed with that, and I had asked for his advice, and he advised me to take out the fibroids. He advised me, said, and I'm getting married, so I should just take it out, so that way, I could, I won't just have that at the back of my mind. But of course, it was my decision. Some women decide to leave it there. Some women decide to take it out. Whatever I want to do is my decision, and it all depends on how much it's impeding on my lifestyle. So at that point, I was like, okay, let me go get another doctor's opinion. So I went to another hospital. To be more specific, the second hospital is in Apo, Cedar Crest Hospital. And the reason I went to Cedar Crest was because I had seen Indimi Okoje. If you don't know who Indimi Okoje is, she's a Nigerian actress, and she also had fibroids, and she shared her story as well. So I was like, okay. And then she posted the name of the hospital she went to. So I was like, okay, let me look for their branch here, because I had called their branch in Lagos, and they were like, they have a well equipped facility here, so I wouldn't need to come to Lagos. Not that I was willing to go anyway, but yeah. So that's how I got the address, and I went there to get a second opinion. The gynecologist I met was a woman, and she actually advised that. I mean, she said it was big. She didn't like it. When I say big, don't get me wrong. I've seen people whose is bigger now. Now that I'm a little bit more aware of it, but it was, I guess, for my belly size, it was reasonably big. So she said that she has seen people with way bigger fibroid. In fact, they just delivered somebody with that the fibroids was literally the same size as her baby. So it was like a 3 kg fibroid or something. That I was young, I didn't need to go through it if I didn't want to, but kept that option open. They were really helpful there, because I learned a couple of things from them and all. But and I did a couple of tests. I did this test called HSG or HGS, something like that. I don't know. I'll insert a clip of me going for that test here. But it was really painful, guys. It felt like really intense cramp. So they'll put like a dye in your hoo-ha, and they will insert a dye so that way they can make sure that your fallopian tubes are good before the surgery. I just wanted to do that because I also wanted to make sure that they were non. Oh, it's not by my power, but I guess the doctor wanted to see if there were any in my fallopian tubes or something. I don't know. And the results were good, thankfully. It appears that the fibroids were like outside the uterus. I think I had a tiny grapefruit one in the, not necessarily in the fallopian tube, but just at the entrance of my cervix or something close by. Anyway, I will insert a picture as well if I still have it. Well, that one was really tiny, and the guy who did the test said that shouldn't impede on my fertility. And he also advised, like, if it wasn't really impeding on my life, I should leave it and try to take in first. However, from checking online and seeing other people's stories, sometimes fibroids could lead to miscarriages, and the more miscarriages you have, the more scar tissue you have in the uterus that might even further maybe prevent more pregnancies. I don't know, I'm just saying. But I just didn't want to have to go through that. So obviously I started spending more time in the place of prayer. I think weirdly enough, that's the one thing I really gained from this experience. It drew me closer to God, like a lot. I noticed that as I got a little bit busier, and tired, I didn't have time for God as much as I used to. I'm now going to set my under eye. To set my under eye, first of all, I'm going to be going in with this powder from Classic. So I'm just going to use a little bit first. And that's why I like this concealer. You don't have to be in a hurry to set it immediately. If it's some others now, they will have kicked. Like, obviously, the earlier you set it, the better, but it doesn't kick as much, if that makes any sense. My phone stopped recording because of memory, so I had to move some things from there to my desktop to create some space. When I do upgrade this phone, I'm definitely going to get the biggest memory I can, because this memory I have right now is just not cutting it at all. Anyway, I hope you can see me. I can't remember where I stopped in sharing the story, but yeah, so fibroids, and a lot of tears were shed. A lot of tears, like I cried. I used to cry every day when I wake up and every night before I go to sleep. Yeah, I remember what I was saying. I was trying to say there's one thing I appreciate this thing for, is that it made me closer to God, which was good. Used to pray every morning. Used to join so many prayer groups, and the morning after I officially got diagnosed, I think I had read a devotional, which I read, Open Heaven by I attend Redeem, so it's our devotional. And coincidentally, that day the topic was overcoming mountains. And after I read that thing, I was actually a little disappointed in myself that when this challenge came, I got so scared. So that kind of built my faith, but I felt like that also told me that there are some mountains that God wants us to cross on purpose, like and he will see us through doing so, but he wants us to cross certain mountains on purpose. That just kind of also showed me that I was going to be okay. The decision was eventually between myself, my fiance, my mom, and prayers, of course. Decided to opt for the surgery. So I took a week off of work and I got the surgery. Currently, I am like, as at the time of shooting this video, I'm like a little over 4 weeks post. So by next week Tuesday, because I had the surgery on a Tuesday, next week Tuesday will make it, so 2 days time will make it 5 weeks post. So I can't believe that, this is me right now sitting down here, because what I went through wasn't funny. So Now let's talk about the surgery itself. Nigerian methods. So now I'm just going to apply eyeshadow. Nigerian methods are not the method of the rest of the world. So I tried my best to get ready as much as possible. I had read that you are supposed to go on like a little bit of a fast before the surgery, so I was aware of that. I got some things ready to go, and that's why I'm making this video as well, because watching a lot of people's videos who went through the same thing I went through really helped me. So I had gotten myself as prepared as possible. What did I get? I think I got peppermint tea to help with gas. I got gas X as well, no, not gas X. I've forgotten the name. I'll probably insert it somewhere, but it's something for gas. It contains simeticone. But one thing I read is that after the surgery, there will be a lot of gas in the person's belly. I already read that you need to get like loose fitted clothes because you're not going to be allowed to wear. You cannot even wear anything tight. Panties were out the question as well. Luckily, one of my best friends had her sister who went through the same surgery, so she really also helped prepare me and told me what to carry, what not to even bother carrying. And we got ready for the surgery. I had to be in the hospital a day before the surgery, so Monday night. That was probably one of the scariest days of my life. Now that I think about it, I don't want to tear up, but I was really scared. I've never had major surgery in my life. That was my first major surgery, so it was really scary. Just so you know, I'm doing burnt orange and then I'm just darkening the edges with black. My fiance came to join me to spend the night in the hospital so I wouldn't be alone, because I had told my mom to just stay home and rest because I kind of knew it was going to be a rough week or a rough couple of days, and I wanted her to have her rest. Even my best friend that told me she was going to be there to take care of me, I told her to just use that day and rest because I knew it was going to be a long couple of days. So she also rested, and it was just me and my fiance, which I liked because we watched movies, we prayed, I cried. I kept waking up in the like randomly because I couldn't sleep. And eventually I woke up. I think I woke up around 4 a.m. I had a prayer um group or prayer, yeah, a prayer group that I usually join that starts at 4. So I woke up at 4. Well, I'll say the Holy Spirit woke me up at 4 because I don't know what spirit that was. I'll say the Holy Spirit. So at 4 I was just up. I couldn't sleep anymore, so I decided to join that prayer. And I wasn't sure what time the surgery was to start. The doctor didn't exactly tell me exactly what time, so I wasn't really sure what time. So I joined the prayer. Prayer finished at around 6, and just after the prayer finished, a few minutes later, the nurse came in and I was like, boom, it's time. So I started shaking, told my fiance immediately, call my mom, tell her it's time. I'm doing my makeup, I don't want to cry. Well, yeah, they had to put in the catheter, and then I went to the theater. Even the nurse told me that day that sometimes when they have surgeries like that, everyone won't come on time, like the anesthesiologist might not come on time. It's not very, it's quite rare to see everybody come on time. So this my surgery is really special and stuff like that. And I was like, well, that's God for you. God doesn't want me to stress. The anesthesiologist told me to bend over, and then he had asked them like how high does he need to go, and they were like, yeah, don't go too high, like midsection. The fibroid is not crazy large. That was what he told him. And then that was my first time ever experiencing epidural. Women are really trying, like, to be a woman is not easy, guys. But I had bent over, and then he injected a couple of places in my, because you have to bend well so they can feel the holes between your vertebrae or something. That's what they did, and then he put it in. Eventually I started to feel numb, and then he told me to lay down. And when I laid down, I started to feel numb. I couldn't even raise my legs. That's how they knew it was working. And everything was just moving so fast. They didn't even wait for it to properly settle down. Like one day, like, can you try and raise up your leg? I was like, I can't raise up my leg. They're like, okay. let's start. And before they started, I was like, wait, please, can I get something to cover my face? Because I was not ready to see what was going on down there. Because I was fully awake, guys, fully awake, not under anything, not under anything that was making me drowsy. I was wide awake. So they had put something over me. Again, more like a contraption. They just used to just patch and put over me. And then I could feel them open my belly. You won't feel the pain, but you feel the pull. The pull is not comfortable, guys. The pull is not comfortable. But at that point, I was okay. I couldn't feel pain, just pull. And then all of a sudden, I felt like someone was basically pulling all my organs from my body. Because now that I know that the surgery, for them to do the surgery, they literally have to bring out your uterus from outside your belly so they can look at it and look at where. But for some reason, when they pulled it out, it was like I could feel even my stomach drop, like drop down a little down now than it should be. And that was why I think it was this sharp. I don't know if I'll call it pain, but to me, I felt like it was pain that I felt in my stomach, and I was like, I started to scream. I was like, please, please, please stop! I don't want to do this anymore. I want to leave. I don't want to feel this pain. He said I won't feel pain, but I feel my belly, like my belly hurts, like something feels weird. And guys, I also have ulcer. It's getting better, but I also have ulcer, so I was also worried about that. I was like, what's going on? What's this thing? And then I started screaming, and they were like, oh, you're feeling a little discomfort because you're alive. The only way you not feel discomfort is if you're dead. I said, I don't care. You have to give me something because I can't feel this pain. I'm in pain. And then I started screaming, and they were like, oh, you're feeling a little discomfort because you're alive. The only way you not feel discomfort is if you're dead. I said, I don't care. You have to give me something because I can't feel this pain. I'm in pain. The pain can send me into shock. That's how much of a pain I was feeling at that point. And then the doctor had whispered into the anesthetologist's ear, and then they injected something into the drip. And in like 30 seconds, I didn't know what was going on anymore. I couldn't feel anything anymore. It was almost like I was dreaming, but I was awake. I think my eyes were open because I was seeing the curtains. I could hear them clearly gisting while they were doing the operation and stuff like that. But I didn't like I was in a trance. I didn't know what was happening. And then next thing I heard was, okay, we're done. Let's try to move her and lift her up. And that's when I knew they were done. I'm smiling now because like after the surgery was probably where I was like, everything that I was afraid of didn't come to pass. Obviously, I've never done surgery before. I know how the devil and the enemy works. Tries to put thoughts into your head, you will die. What if you never leave the hospital bed? What if you never see your mom again? That was like what the devil kept playing in my head. I'm so happy because, like I said, I got closer to God during that period, even till now. A lot of messages kept coming. There was this particular pastor who has like a 7 a.m. prayer. Everybody will probably know him. What God cannot do does not exist. He will keep on saying like, what you're afraid of will not come to pass. So I kept holding on to words like that, and that was when I was happy. So I remember when they put me on the other bed to move me back to my room, I just kept saying, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. And then I got to my bed, and then I know I wasn't fully awake, I was still woozy, but I peeped and I saw that my mom was already there, and I saw my fiance, and it just lifted up my spirit a little bit. And then they moved me to the bed. I was still numb, but it was getting better. Like at a point, I could move my leg a little bit. I think my fiance even used anointing oil on my feet. I could move my leg a little bit, and immediately my fiance was already saying like, "Babe, your stomach is flat. Your stomach is flat." And mind you, that was also something I didn't mention during that period before the surgery because I was sad. I lost my appetite. I wasn't really eating. I lost even more weight. So I think before the surgery, I was around 78. So even though I was 78, my belly was flatter, but that bulge on my right side was still there. And while I was sleeping, I kept hearing my mom say like, I can't believe this is what they brought out from her belly. And I was like, is it that bad? My mom was like, do you want to see it? I was like, no, let me just focus on waking up properly and getting this whole anesthesia off me first. And so yeah, eventually I began to move. And for some reason after surgery, guys, I was hungry. It was almost like as they took out the fibroids, I was hungry. Guys, at that point, I could have eaten a human being alive. And then the nurse was like, you cannot eat until, I think it was like 12 hours or 18 hours. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? It was so annoying because I would sleep, I would wake up and be like, okay, maybe I've slept for like 5 hours. I can now eat. They were like, yeah, you kind of only slept for 30 minutes. I was like, no. So that was it. After 12 hours, I was able to eventually eat. And my friend came. Oh God, shout out to Peace. If you're watching this video, God bless you. She's my friend. She really took care of me. Guys, not to give you guys TMI, but after eventually they took out the catheter, but it was almost like I was now learning how to pee by myself again, which is weird. On 2 occasions, and because of the pain I was in, and like I said, the hospital wasn't really like the most standard hospital. I was mainly there because of the surgeon himself. So my bed was a little bit high. Sometimes before I get down from the bed and make it to the toilet, I knew I could. And that's another thing. When you're done with the surgery, peeing with. If I've never had a UTI, thank God for His mercies. I've never had a UTI. I don't know what it feels like, but whenever I hear burning sensation when you pee, that's what I imagine. It was horrible. At a point, I was like, "Is this normal?" So even to the process of even the pee coming out will hurt. So on 2 occasions, I actually soiled myself, and my friend cleaned me up. So TMI, but shout out to you, peace. Because I was in so much pain and I couldn't stand up. Well, that's another thing. They try to get you on your feet as soon as possible. Sadly, in my case, I also had malaria as well during that period. So we're trying to get my appetite back up, trying to treat malaria. Ulcer was also getting in the way. It was just a lot going on. So I took a lot of injections. I spent a whole week in the hospital. I think they had wanted me to spend maybe 3 days, but I ended up spending a whole week. So the surgery was on a Tuesday and I left on a Saturday. That period felt like forever, man. It felt like forever. It wasn't really easy getting to my normal tasks, like peeing. It wasn't like I had to learn how to pee again. Luckily, my bowel movement happened like I think a day after. Like initially, it didn't happen. The doctor asked me, "Have you used the toilet? Have you?" Eventually, I gasped, which was good. And after I gasped, I was like, "Have you used the toilet?" Which I was able to do. For some reason, I just felt like taking Baba Blue, and once I took Baba Blue, my belly was like boom, ready to go. And that's another thing, TMI too, but they might put you on iron is it iron? Yes, iron supplements to get your blood up. In my case, I didn't need to take blood before after surgery. Thank God. They said my blood loss was very minimal and I didn't need it. And also before the surgery even, my mom didn't even want me to have a blood transfusion because because my periods are heavy, there was fear that I might be anemic, but I wasn't. I mean, a hospital I ran tests on put me on iron meds because my blood count was low. And then my mom started to give me a leaf called Hospital Too Far. I'll put a picture here, and just praying and drinking that almost every day. Eventually, I didn't need to take blood before or after the surgery, which was nice. But they did put me on iron supplements. So your poo might be black, and this is just for in case if anybody watching this and is preparing for the surgery. But yeah, eventually, it was a roller coaster in the hospital. My appetite was up, it was down. Treating malaria, taking pills, lots of pills, painkillers, liquid painkillers, drip painkillers. I even still have they had to insert 2 needles because my veins they're not very easy to find and stuff. But eventually I did leave the hospital thankfully on the Saturday, like I said. I was so happy to come back home. One of my uncles was waiting for me, received me back home. I was so happy to see my bed. I was like, God, thank you. And then I had actually resumed work the very Monday, but I took it easy. Thank God I work from home, so I'm still recovering. Every day does get better, thankfully. Guys, I feel like I've been talking more than I've been doing my makeup. And when I hit 6 weeks, I have an appointment with the gynecologist just to like see how I'm doing, make sure I'm doing good. I think they'll also do another ultrasound as well. Luckily, and that's another thing, some people will have situations where they'll be like, oh, sorry, we couldn't get all the fibroids out, but that wasn't my case. Thank you, Jesus. all the fibroids were able to come out. Eventually, I did get the balls because I was really scared to look at it. I did get the mind to be able to look at it, and when I did, I was astonished. I was astonished. Like I was like, "What the heck?" And I looked at it while I was in the hospital, like in person, briefly, because they put the fibroids in formaldehyde to preserve it, because they said if I wanted, I didn't have to, but if I wanted, I had the option of having a histology. So the histology is basically where they take it to, I don't know what they call them, but they examine it. Like I said, they are mostly benign. Mostly benign. I believe that there's a reason they use that word, mostly benign, which was also another fear the devil wanted to put in me. I remember that before they took it, I had prayed over it and over myself, and I just told God, like, you're too faithful to fail. Like, you brought me this far. Because, like, my life is a testimony, guys. Story for another day, but my life is a testimony. That I'm here where I am today. Sometimes it's like, how did I even get here? Like, I'm shocked. So my life is a testimony, and it's only God that have brought me here. So I was like, God cannot bring me this far and now dump me like this now. So that kind of helps build my faith even more. But I prayed over myself, and then they took it away. To be honest, as I'm filming this video, I haven't officially gotten a result back, but it was like if the result was bad, they would tell me. If it wasn't bad, it would be chucked into my file. So I thank God that I didn't get an urgent call from my doctor saying, "Oh, they found this" or anything like that. So thank be to God for that. But yeah, some things that happened during recovery. Of course, you have to lay on your back. It's not easy. I'm not one that lays on my back. I'm a side sleeper, or belly, mostly side, but sometimes belly. So to have to lay on my back was not easy. You will feel really bloated. Even till today, I still feel bloated. It gets better some mornings. That's why sometimes I don't like eating as much, so I can have my belly flat. I have a little pooch, like a little, because the incision side they have to sew it really tight. So there's like this little dent. It's not so bad, but there's this little dent, like it's like a dent, and then there is my belly, so it's like a little pooch. Thank God I'm not on the big side anyway, so it's not that bad. I mean, someone would see me, I wouldn't even believe that I went through surgery. So, but yeah, recovery was up and down. I had a bunch of meds that I needed to take to recover fully, and I was able to take them. I finished my meds, and recovery is still going on, guys. If I'm being honest, recovery is still going on. Apparently, week 6, by God's grace, is when most people start to feel way better. Like I've still seen people even like 2 months post still saying, "Oh, they still feel a little sore, but it's better than before," and all of that. And yeah. But I'm just really praying that by next week I will feel. In fact, what's next week? Even by this week, I'll feel way better. Basically, this is the look I'm going to just be going for today. I might just be applying a little lip gloss, because I'm just keeping it simple for today's look. I'm not even going crazy at all, because like I said, I just wanted to shoot a video that I've been pushing. It's probably going to go up after this video, so yeah. So yeah, this is the finished look. If I was going out, I'll probably spray like my setting spray, but I'm not going anywhere, so I ain't gonna waste that. But yeah, so this is 5 weeks post. About 5 weeks post, I feel way better. Another challenge I had was sitting down, but I noticed that with time it's really getting better, like sitting down and stuff. Right now, guys, is my time of the month, TMI. But one thing I've also observed is that my flow is, oh, to say it's not as heavy would be an understatement. It's quarter of what it used to be, and I'm like, wait, is this how it's supposed to be? Like, if I had known this is how it was supposed to be, I would have done something since. Like my friend, like even when I told my friend, like whenever I say stuff like this, my friend is like, she doesn't think like she thinks that God allowed it to happen the way it happened for a reason and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm doing way better now. Right now, I'm just focusing on planning my wedding, and that's also why I wanted to make this video, because there's going to be a lot of wedding series coming up, and I'm excited. I already have some videos. I just need to edit them, but I'm going to have a wedding series coming up because most of my vlogs anyway now will be surrounded on planning that wedding. Yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. This, like I said, is more of a get ready with me. It's not the typical get ready with me because I'm not changing my outfit in this video. It's mostly just about makeup. I kind of like the finished look. It's night, so maybe I didn't do my best work, but it's good enough to work with tonight. And thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button, please. I'm trying to get to, right now I'm just trying to get to 100 subscribers. Like, you know, to be able to run ads on your channel, you need up to 1,000 subscribers. So guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead